Now I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, Craig, this is just a run-of-the-mill, air-cooled, two-stroke, twin-cylinder motorcycle. And you're kind of right. But what you may not know is this is the tip of the iceberg. I guess if the iceberg was flipped upside down. Anyway, this is the base of one of the craziest motorcycle racing stories of all time. And it was the catalyst that led to a 13-year winning streak at one of America's premier races. This is a 1971 Yamaha R5. These were produced from 1970 to 1972. And we can tell this is a 1971 because of the paint. Mandarin and white was 1971. 1970 would have been a metallic purple and white. In 1972 would have been a mandarin and black. There's a fun little piece of trivia for you. So we know this is a 1971 two-stroke, air-cooled, piston port, 5-speed gearbox. Obviously we have drum brakes front and rear. Where should we start this time? Front or back? Let's start at the back. And we're gonna work our way to the front. This bike is in really good condition. This was sitting in a friend's collection for a number of years. He's a Yamaha collector. It wasn't getting ridden a whole lot, but you know, that's what happens sometimes. However, it is moving into another friend's collection and he wants to get it up and on the road. So I figured a good first step is, why not let him hear it run, right? Anyway, so that's our plan with this bike. We're gonna get it fired up and I'm gonna tell you guys what has to be one of the craziest stories in motorcycle racing history. What do we got here? Let's take a look. 3.5 by 18-inch rubber. Of course we have chain drive, dual exhaust, buddy pegs, little latch here to get the seat off. Still can't do it. Okay, it looks like there was a battery tender on this at some point, but oh, there's a stink bug. Yeah, get out of there, stink bug. But our battery's shot. We're gonna have to see if we can find a battery for it. Seat's in really nice condition. Tank is really nice. We have some, oh, the fuel line's pretty hard. Choke's working. So that's interesting. They're just throwing a choke on one of these carbs just to get a little extra fuel into the motor. It's actually an enrichener. It's not a choke, but we'll go over that later. Again, oh, where's our, let me grab my specs. Can I cheat?
Cheat as much as you want, Craig.
Am I at the point where I can cheat? Do I have to, I know a lot of this, but I don't, it's hard to memorize everything too. Let's talk engine here for a minute. This is a 350cc. We have piston port. This bike would have been the predecessor to the RD350. We'll get into that a little bit later. The RD350 would have had reed induction. This one here, we have a piston port, 7.5 to 1 compression ratio in here, 36 horsepower at 7,000 RPMs. This bike redlines at 8. So you got about 1,000 RPMs of play there. 28 foot-pounds of torque at 6,500. These are 28 millimeter Mikunis on here. Got a 5-speed gearbox, telescoping front end. What do we have up here? We have a high-low beam switch, high-low. Sure that's on-off for the lights. Turn, horn. Key. Well, would you believe the battery's dead? Real quick way to tell if you're working with when you're on this old stuff, if you're working with a 6-volt or a 12-volt system, count the caps on top of your battery. I got 6 caps, that means it's a 12-volt system. If I had 3 caps, we'd be working on a 6-volt system. But see, I got 3 and 3, so that tells me we're working at 12 volts. Have some rusting and some pitting on our fork legs, but I know he has a new set of those, not a new set, a different set to throw on there when he does fork seals. This is the dual leading shoe brake setup, 18-inch rubber on the front too, right? Great bike. This is pretty cool. We have a, this is a steering dampener right here. So if you want to tighten up your steering, you can give this a turn, and that stiffens that up. Look how that really stiffens up.
In case you want to lock your steering.
Yeah, it's pretty cool actually. But anyway, it comes down here. This is all just threaded rod and there's some friction discs here and a fork. It's basically the same, it's same as what was on that 1940 whatever we did Harley Davidson. So we have 2 friction discs and then in between them is this little piece and it just comes off of a stanchion on the frame. Cradles that. So as you tighten this knob, it's just applying friction here on the discs. See, now they're loose. Tighten that up, those all snug up. Steering dampener. Genius! Absolutely genius. We have our old school balloon grips. I don't know what you call them. I call them balloon grips. Hear that? Our slides are moving freely. Guess we check our tank. See how we're looking there? Oh, you do, Nevada. Okay. Good news. It's not awful.
It doesn't look bad at all.
No, with that attitude.
Are you saying it could be worse if I had a better attitude?
Yeah, I have a little bit of rust, nothing crazy. We'll be all right. Clutch has a little free play. Clutch is at least moving, so that's good. Let's put this back on so we don't misplace it. This is oil injection. Is this the oil tank right here? Have a dipstick. Looks like there's oil in it. I'm sure the engine's free. Oh yeah. Okay, well that's a good sign. I like that. I like that. Dan, I think it's time we get this thing up on the table. We'll check for some spark, get these carburetors cleaned up. Fingers crossed everything else is fine. We're gonna have a little fun in the shop today. All right, let's get this thing up in the air here a little bit. Check it out a little closer. Ouch, made in JA paint. Let's start up here at the battery. Dura boost. Looks like that done Dura its last boost. Fuse housing was broken. I wonder if it got stuck underneath the seat at some point and the seat got put down on top of it. Oh, it's heavy. Any sort of anything. No. Plug this in here. Dan, is it possible for you to turn the motor over? See if we got any sort of spark.
Yeah, hang on.
Nothing. I guess the next logical step here is going to be to pull this and see what our points look like. Well, at least these points are nice and easy to get to. Well, we can give them a clean. Here's what I'm going to do though. We're going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to start pulling out the carburetors and getting the buzz box heated up and ready to go for those carburetors. That way, while they're cooking and doing everything they need to do, I can come back and start working on figuring out this spark.
Sounds great.
You like that idea?
Yeah.
One carburetor.
Greg, I thought you were going to tell us the craziest motorcycle story of all time.
Oh yeah. Thanks for reminding me, Dan. I got sidetracked with trying to get this bike to run. Our story starts with a 20-year-old Don Emde. He was a rider for Triumph BSA back in the early 70s. And it was about this time in 1971, I think Thanksgiving, day after Thanksgiving, right about Thanksgiving, he learned that his contract for the following year of 1972 with Triumph was going to be terminated. See, Triumph went through a little bit there where they decided they were going to nix their factory racing efforts and go to strictly privateer, meaning racers had to start paying for all their parts that were going to be coming out of that factory. Let me read you part of this letter. The directors of the Birmingham Small Arms Company, BSA, have made a decision to promote racing through private entries and to make special parts and tuning information available to all. In the very near future, we will publish a price list and solicit orders for road racing frames, forks, wheels, brakes, tanks, seats, fairings, 5-speed gearboxes, cams, and other racing goodies. The promotion of racing through the privateers unfortunately spells the end to our participation in championship events by use of factory teams. The successes of both the BSA and Triumph teams, as well as our own individual successes, have now been recorded in motorcycle history. I guess that's true. As they say, nothing lasts forever, and therefore I must inform you that our team efforts have officially withdrawn, and you are now free to make your own arrangements for the 1972 season. You may want to continue to use your present equipment for the next season's events. If so, we can prepare, this is great, we can prepare to sell any parts required for competition directly to you at our special racing discount and to offer you other technical help, including dyno testing. So basically what they were saying is tough. Toodaloo.
Tough toodaloos.
Tough toodaloos. So he was now a privateer racer looking for a ride for... Did you see that jump right out of my hands?
Toodaloos, Craig, man.
Looking for a ride for the 1972 season. And this was what, Thanksgiving? Man, what a way to go into the holidays. He basically just got fired. All right, let's pull these apart. That had to be quite the blow for Don Emde. You see, he did have quite a pedigree in racing. His dad was Floyd Emde, and he won the Daytona 200 back in 1948, and I believe he was riding an Indian at that time. So yeah, this had to be quite the kick in the shorts to Don, considering they did keep Dick Mann, who, you know, is a motorcycle racing legend, and he won the Daytona 200 in 1970 and 71. So Triumph BSA decided to keep him, and there was one other racer, Gene Romero, but they cut everybody else. Oh, well, the float pin wasn't in there, so that wasn't doing anything.
Where is it?
It's right there. It wasn't in where it belongs. This is kind of interesting. Somebody was in these carburetors a while ago because that needle and seat's new, that jet is new, and that pilot jet is new. They even looks like they replaced the emulsion tube, main jet holder. Boom, right there. However, we're still gonna pull these things apart, give them the old what for like we do. Well, how can that be correct? I hope what I thought here was going to be a simple carb clean turns out to be a simple carb clean. Right now, I'm not so sure. So Don started rushing around trying to find a sponsor for the 1972 Daytona 200. Hey, that pilot jet's clean. And that's when he got hooked back up with his old buddy, Mel Dinesen, who was a tuner, an engine tuner, and he was also a Yamaha dealer. Mel's main goal every year for decades, he sent racers and sponsored racers to go to the Daytona 200. Because at that time, that was the premier race in the country. It's what all the factories were racing towards. It's what all the racers wanted to win. It was it, man. It was kind of like the Daytona 500, except it was motorcycles, so it was cooler. This carb is really dirty. Now this is interesting. You see this carb here, super dirty, and none of these internals were replaced. We still have the old jet. So remember when I said this probably isn't great? There's a washer here. This washer goes underneath the main jet, and then that seals here against our main jet holder. Now, the other one did not have that washer, so I'm gonna have to try to find a washer to go in there, or else what's gonna happen is fuel is just gonna leak right past our main jet, and it's gonna screw up all of our running. So we need to get that addressed and get that figured out. Now, Mel and Don knew each other. They won the AFM #1 plate back in 1969 together, and they were running a Hodaka at that time. So these guys knew each other, and they decided to team up for the 1972 200. Mel put Don on a brand new, this is where this bike comes in. This is how I'm tying all this together. Mel put Don on a brand new Yamaha TR3. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with what a TR3 is, it's a hand-built custom race bike made by Yamaha based off of, you guessed it, the R5. They made a couple changes, and we'll go over those. But Mel tuned up this bike and he threw Don on it and off to Daytona they went. Now, if you guys know anything about motorcyclists, which you probably do because you might be one, we like free tires because tires are probably our biggest wear part of the motorcycle. Not to mention, tires are fun to play with. Maybe this one's better than that one. Maybe this one lasts longer than that one. Wow, that jet's clean too. Maybe this one's softer and stickier than that one and all sorts of stuff. So we like playing with tires. And tires get super expensive. Now when you're racing, those tires get really expensive and you go through...
Were you trying to knock that out of there, Craig?
I don't know why that was in there. Oh. Yeah, I tried that. I don't know how many tires they would go through at a race weekend back in the 70s, but I'm sure it was quite a bit. So now these guys load up and they go down to Florida. And what does Don realize when he gets to the track down in Florida and it's time to go racing for the weekend? He realizes that along with losing his Triumph BSA ride, along with that was his Dunlop sponsorship. So this poor dude gets down to the race and realizes he is no longer sponsored by Dunlop, and him and Mel have to flip the bill for all their tires for the weekend. That's just crazy. Imagine finding that out. That's nuts. Go throw this in the buzz box. I'll be right back. We need to find one of them washers. All right. Well, we have the carbs in the crock pot. Let's see if we can figure out the electricals here quick and get some spark. I get nervous when I see all this electrical tape and stuff. It's generally never good. Let's clean up our battery connections here. Let's take this opportunity a little bit. Let's talk about, ow, Let's talk about this R5 versus a TR3. What they did is they stuck with this R5. They actually kept it piston port, but a couple of things that they did was they actually ended up shaving 100 pounds of weight off this bike to make a TR3. Now I know we can shave a lot of weight by, you know, getting rid of metal fenders and turn signals and lights, lighter duty exhausts, getting rid of all this stuff up front. Again, metal fenders, they were running on the TR3s, they were running fiberglass bodywork. All of that stuff was a whole lot lighter. But one of the other trick things they did is they actually ran a dry clutch on those models. So what they did is, if you look at pictures, and we'll put a picture up here, but if you look, what they did is they removed this whole side cover, this whole clutch cover here, and this is what holds the oil for your transmission and your clutch. They removed this, and they put a little tiny skeleton cover over the clutch, and that would have saved a bunch of weight. So they did things like that were just really super cool. Another big difference that they had was they jammed a 6-speed transmission in here. Now normally this was a 5-speed, well, this is a 5-speed bike, but for the TR3 and the race version, they jammed a 6th gear in. So this bike was 100 pounds lighter, ran a dry clutch, fiberglass bodywork, and 6-speed. Now they also tuned it and had it dialed in for racing. They had this bike cranking out 58 horsepower. That's 28 horsepower more than stock, which was 36. 22, what did I say?
You said 28.
It's 22. It's 22 horsepower more than the stock 36 horsepower. That's nutty. Like adding 22, that's just nutty. One of the ways they did it, these here, oh, I don't have the carburetors, they're in the crock pot. Those carburetors stock, they're 28 millimeter Mikunis. And what they did on the race bike on the TR3 is they ran 34 millimeter Mikuni carbs on the race bike. So all that, it's adding up to 22 extra horsepower. Man, that thing would have been a screamer. I tell you what. All right, where were we? Let's clean the points. And then we'll put another battery on and we'll see what happens. These are the easiest points we got to clean in a while. Let's try this again, see if we can get some spark out of it. Now we have some clean points.
I don't see anything.
Not a thing. Nope. Okay. Now we got stuff. Now do we have spark? Turn that thing over, Dan.
You see it?
Spark. Nice. Clean the points, and we got spark. Do you want to see it?
Yeah.
All right, here, let me show you.
There it is.
Oh man, that is great news. Good deal. Now we have carbs buzzing, sparking. We need to find a washer for this carburetor. Would you believe I just so happen to keep carburetors laying around? Let's see if this thing here has any in. Doesn't have what we're looking for. What do they call this? Robbing Peter to pay Paul?
Yeah, except Peter's not doing anything anyway. That doesn't make stealing right. Don't steal from lazy people.
All right, I'm striking out. Dang it, this bike will never, it'll run, but it'll never, I don't even know if it'll go around the parking lot good if we don't have that. We'll put them under the bench until next time. Now I know how Don Emde felt, a little deflated. I don't know, a battery that works. I don't know, a carburetor part. There, I got the washer. So now we got both of our washers. This washer goes on here, and this washer goes on here. And that's what we were missing. That covers up this main jet holder and seals that right there. So now we can put these carbs back together and they should work correctly. Getting back here to our story on Don, man, talk about kicking a man when he's down. Holy mackerel. Imagine going to the racetrack, then finding out you lost your tire sponsorship. Ay, ay, ay. Poor guy. But that didn't get Don down. He did something, actually it kind of reminds me of something my grandfather would do. It irked him enough. And I say irked, I don't know if irk's the right word, but he didn't like it, I'm sure. And he was determined to get that sponsorship back, so he formulated a plan. And he went back to Mr. Dunlop, and Mr. Dunlop told him, that the only way they would sponsor him is if he were to win the race this weekend at Daytona. And it was pretty much just kind of to pacify him because nobody thought he was going to win the race. So Dunlop agreed, I guess, if you win the race, that they would sponsor him for the rest of the season. Isn't that crazy? So I don't know what day these guys would get to the tracks back then, but I know the 200 was on a Sunday, and on Saturday, the day before, they had a 100. It was a smaller race. Oh man, that's tight. Now the 100 was a lightweight bike, so I guess they had a second bike down at the race, and it was, I believe, a 250. And Don was doing, I think, fairly well in the race when disaster struck. Dun, dun, dun. Don crashes and busts up his shoulder pretty good. Rumor has it was broken in 12 spots. All the ligaments were torn off. He was basically an amputee, but he was also a racer. No, I'm just kidding. Wasn't quite that bad, but it was pretty bad. He was hurt, no doubt about it. He was hurt his shoulder. I don't know if it was broken or not, but it was bad enough that the medical team apparently at the event said he was done for the weekend and he couldn't race in Sunday's race, which was the main event, the big event, the 200. Jeez, man, I feel bad for this guy. He's just getting kicked while he's down the whole time. Perseverance, I tell you. Okay, it looks like our carburetors are set to go in the bike. Choke's working. Got that washer back in. I didn't pull mixture screws and stuff. They're fine. Good enough for what we're doing here at the moment. Okay, so this one's gonna be our left. That one's our right. We're gonna need a piece of fuel line to go in between these. And I'll line up just like that. Okay, there we go. All right, let's throw this thing back in. So here's an interesting fact. When these bikes would come in for their routine maintenance and service to the dealership, part of the maintenance on these bikes was to pull the head off, decarbon the bottom of the head, and decarbon the top of the pistons. And then when you put it all back together, you had your handy dandy dial indicator set up. You'd put that in the hole, find your top dead center, and reset your points. Just get everything dialed. That way when the customer got it back, it was all set to go for another season. Let's tighten that up. Okay, so Don crashed, hurt his shoulder, and the track doctors say you're done for the weekend. But if you guys know anything about old motorcycle racers, I ain't taking that for an answer. He convinced the AMA doctors that he was good and he could race on Sunday. I mean, if he wanted to get a tire sponsorship back, he had to, right? You didn't have a choice. Let me grab my pliers. I'll be right back. What was I doing? Fuel line. So this is where the story gets really kind of wild and wacky. Don lines up at the start line, Sunday's race, on tires that he had to buy, on a bike that was half the size of pretty much every other bike in the race. Those guys were all running, everybody else was running, I don't know, 700, 750 triples and 4 cylinders and 4 strokes, big bikes. Except the little TR3, which was just a 350cc air-cooled twin 2-stroke. I feel like this is the quintessential David and Goliath story. This is how these bikes got to have a nickname of the Giant Killers. Part of it is what they lacked in big horsepower and just straight line speed. They made up for in cornering and handling, and what I could only imagine, this platform would not wear you out anywhere near like riding an old 4-stroke 3-cylinder. I mean, this bike in race form would have been down to like 220 pounds. So I can imagine as mile 100 came and went, and mile 150 came and went, and we were closing in on 200 miles. Don on this bike was probably a lot fresher than everybody else in the race. I know when I first switched from 4 strokes back to 2 strokes, I felt fresh after a day's worth of riding. It didn't wear me out nearly as bad. Tighten this up here quick. And what's really crazy is even making it to mile 150 or 170. Just because after a couple laps in, Don was running in 10th place. This is absolutely crazy. And then what happened is the engine actually started to soft seize, and he could feel the pistons were getting tight inside the cylinders. He knew if he stopped or if he pitted, the motor was definitely gonna lock up. So he dumped the clutch and had enough momentum that it just kept the pistons rolling inside the cylinder. So he ended up saving the motor, which is crazy. I imagine though in the back of his mind, man, he was just thinking to himself, holy mackerel motor, hold together. Put this back together. That way it looks nice when we start it. Because you know what, Dan? This thing's gonna start pretty easily for us, I do believe. Here, let me read you a quote. I found a quote from Don. This will explain that a little bit better. If I pulled into the pits to see what the problem was, I realized that I had no chance of winning the race. And I knew that I was supposed to win that race. So I said, what the heck, and let out the clutch. And to my amazement, the engine fired right up and ran smoothly the rest of the race. The 750 slowed and dropped out due to mechanical problems. Geoff Perry in the lead with a Suzuki 500. Emde was close behind. Perry's chain breaks and he dropped out of the race. Man, I wonder if they got this on VHS. Because I kind of want to watch this race now. Let's put our fuel line on. I don't know why I keep lifting that seat up. All it does is fall down.
And scare you.
Yeah, every time. That should be all right for now. That won't leak. Okay, fuel line's on. All right, we're gonna throw this battery in. Let's see how it fits in here. Oh, it fits right nice.
Almost like it belongs there.
Almost. Man, I'm excited. Can you feel the excitement in the air? I can, don't worry. I can feel it for both of us.
I can feel it.
Whoa. Forgot that, so we're all hooked up now.
Zap in his hand.
Oh, shoot. That smells a little burny. Seat is on. Yeah! I feel like Don coming down the backstretch at Daytona, heading to that checkered flag. Last lap, and I'm leading, headed to the checkered flag, wondering how many kicks it's gonna take to start this bike. He was probably just hoping his bike would hold together, if I'm being honest, if the guy he was following's changes snapped. But it did. It held together, and Don finished the race in first place. And with leading that last lap, he was awarded a huge purse of $30. Now, it turns out that the timing and scoring people at this race must have been napping, or went for a hot dog or something and weren't really paying attention, because Perry was actually like 8 or 9 laps back. So Don got credited with leading 9 more laps, and he ended up getting a check for $270. Could you imagine doing all of this, all of that, and you winning out $270? Him and Mel split that purse. It probably paid for their gas to come across the states from California where they were from, but they did win their sponsorship back with Dunlop tires and got free tires for the rest of the 1972 race season. It also did a lot of things in the motorcycling world. With that win in 1972, Don set a few firsts. It was the first two-stroke to ever win the Daytona 200. It was also the lightest displacement bike at that time to ever win that race. And remember his dad Floyd that won in 1948? Well, with this victory here, that put Don and Floyd to be the only father and son to ever win this race. And I think that record holds to today. I don't think any other father-son team has won that race. This was also the first Daytona 200 win for Yamaha, and it's what started a 13-year winning streak. That is a full baker's dozen of championships for Yamaha. What a crazy story. So anyway, from 1972 to 1984, Yamaha clearly held the title as the kings of Daytona with 13 victories in a row. I am hoping we have some of that luck here. Dan, let's put this thing on the ground. Let's put some gas in it up here in the gas tank. And I want you guys to tell me how many kicks you think it's gonna take to get this bike fired up. Do some thinking, do some commenting while I do this. We'll see you in a minute. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Gonna give this thing a quick peek. Make sure we got oil. We got oil. Yeah, that's vintage. That's a straight 30 weight Yamaha.
Oh, you can tell. Just by tasting it.
Yep. I am going to, even though we have oil in our oil tank, and it looks like we got oil up through the lines, until I know for sure that those lines are bled and the oil pump's working and all of that, I'm gonna throw a little mix, 2-stroke mix in the tank, and we are gonna run that just to make sure we don't goof anything up. This is the ethanol-free 90. This is the good stuff. I don't want to give my buddy all my gas. All right, guys, we're getting close. Did you put your comments in the comments, your guesses in the guessing section? On. Which way's off? Is that way it might be off. Yeah, we're getting a little seepage out of there.
If it starts leaking and seeping, you know it's on.
That's right. It's a good thought, Dan. Okay, we're gonna turn the key on. Turn that enrichener on. How many kicks?
19.
Just when I thought we were gonna be friends.
Man, this thing was this thing was rough. I've been guessing low lately, all right?
Yeah, I'm gonna go 9. A couple primers. All right. Not sure. Oy.
Oh, I saw it dripping.
It's dripping. It's not getting any better. Okay, we'll turn that off. Oh, you know what? We never looked in the air box. Maybe we should have done that. New stinker. Let's reevaluate. Good thing Don had better luck than us, I guess. Is this where the air box is? Huh? There's a filter in there. I don't see any critters. Maybe I should have pulled the petcock, cleaned that out. This is gonna be our problem. This is our problem. Okay, that's our problem.
What is?
I'm not getting fuel. Okay. So I need to address that. Well, now I have to pull this all apart.
Doesn't look like a janky mess at all.
Doesn't look as bad as I thought it would. Got lucky there. Those screws came loose. Channeling my inner Don Emde. Keeping a positive attitude. Thinking it can't get any worse. Just for Dunlop to pull my tire sponsorship. So why would that not be letting fuel out? Oh, that's why. Because that's clogged. And that's clogged, okay. Now it's making more sense. All right, I got one shot. If this don't work, I'm gonna throw it in the cleaner for the night. Now we're getting places. Turn that back to off so it doesn't leak. It's pretty grody. Should be enough though for fuel to go through. Now we're getting fuel. Now we're getting fuel. Told you we're gonna restart the kick count. Can we do it in the morning though? Is that all right?
I think that's fine.
So here's where we're at.
The tank's on.
The tank's on. Greg was here last night apparently, and well, you saw we got that petcock cleaned out. I think things are flowing now. I'm gonna turn this on the reserve. Now one thing Greg did do is left the key on. So that was a bit of a mess this morning. We had a dead battery. This petcock's dripping, so I'm just gonna leave it on enough to get some fuel down in those carburetors. Okay, well, we should have some fuel down there. Turn the key on. Now, how many kicks?
I'm allowed to change my guess?
Yep.
19.
Okay. Dang it. Man, we're not getting anything, are we? Oh.
Craig, you never said what your guess was.
That was on purpose.
Listen here, you cheater.
Let you know here in a minute.
You aren't even counting.
I turned the fuel off in case it was getting flooded. If you think it's flooded, turn the fuel off, hold the throttle wide open, and that'll clear it out for you. I feel like we're having Oh! Come on, come on. Oh, you smell that? Mouse pee and a little two-stroke. Oh, that'll get you excited. I should have kept kicking.
Oh, there's smoke coming out the back. Hey!
Hey! We're getting there. Oh, it smells so good. Man, come on, girl. Thank you! Is it possible the crank seals are just that dry that we're sucking that much air that it just doesn't want to fire? I think the answer is yeah, that could be a thing. This motor is coming apart. Yeah, come on! Come on!
This is infuriating.
Come on, man, we were so close. Oh, come on. Oh, come on.
It's getting better.
My guess is, man, I hope it's not crank seals. Gotta be easy on the kicker. I don't want to do any damage. That's why I'm kicking it easy instead of just beating at it. Dang it. Is it spark or is it fuel, Dan? Yeah, we don't have spark. Anything on that side?
I'm not seeing anything.
Okay. See if we can clean these. All right, we got spark on this side. Do we have spark on that side?
Yes. Was it fuel hitting the spark plugs, you think?
Yeah, they were pretty gassy. Let's see if we have any better luck.
Oh, man. Honk the horn again. That seemed to do something. Do you need a break, Craig? Soaked in gas again?
Not as bad, but yeah. Yeah, I think we need to grab plugs, Dan.
Let's grab some plugs.
Let's do it. I ran to the shop and grabbed some fresh plugs, and I also grabbed these. Check these out, Dan.
What are these?
These are split fires.
What is that?
I mean, these are old school, so check this out.
Split
Made in
fire.
the U.S.
Split fire sounds like something from the 90s.
Look at this electrode. It's like a snake tongue. It's forked.
Oh, what's going on there?
The idea was it just gives you more spark, more intense spark.
Does it work?
I don't know. I just got regular NGKs to throw back in here because these are kind of cool. We're going to save them for a rainy day. All right, let's throw these in. I got the battery on the charger because these bikes, you got to keep the battery charged. I think they're pretty particular about having 12 volts. More power in the battery than more power in the coil, right? Mm-hmm. All right, Dan. Let's try this again. Key on, horn works. Hey!
Wow! Is it still on? Oh my word!
One kick. That was my gas.
Oh yeah, that was your gas.
Got a misfire. All right. Whew, we should have pointed that sour sauce out the door. How about we start it out here this time? See if this clutch and everything works. Man. Misfire. What if we're not sucking some air? I'm sure we are. Ah, clutch is stuck. There we go.
I think I got it.
There we go. It just took a little persistence, like Don Emde would have done. I hope you guys enjoyed that story. I always thought that was a pretty cool story. Idling. What a great bike. Brakes work. First gear works. Second gear works. Third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear. Oh. Pump start it.
What a difference a couple of spark plugs.
That's right. What a difference a couple spark plugs could make. We're leaking some fuel here, so I don't want to go too crazy. I'm not going to take it out on the road or anything like that. We have some old tires. We don't have a license plate on this one just yet, and it's not even mine. So I'm not even going to do a burnout with it. There you guys have it. 1971 Yamaha R5. I hope you guys enjoyed that story. I think it's a pretty cool story. Guys, find yourselves an old bike. Start wrenching, start riding, start learning and having fun. Have a great weekend. We'll see you later. Doesn't have a kickstand, so I gotta hold it.